Good morning to you on this Palm Sunday as we begin the solemn observation of Holy Week and walk with Jesus into Jerusalem, which is the scene of his passion, his death on the cross, and his glorious resurrection on Easter Day. Walking has been a big feature of life during the lockdown. Ensuring that we get exercise is an important part of survival for all of us. And I've enjoyed walking across the lower reaches of the South Downs here from Chichester, and in particular seeing the spring unfold in front of us, seeing pussy willow in the hedgerows, and recalling that for our forebears, going willowing on Palm Sunday was a big part of their observance. Not palm branches like these, but branches of willow to wave in honour of the Lord. And as I've walked around the foothills of the South Downs, I've also been struck by coming across the huge and magnificent racecourse at Goodwood, nestling in the hilltops there. It must be scenically one of the most beautiful race courses in England. And although there's not much happening publicly there at the moment, nonetheless I can still hear the faint echo of the incredible sound of horse racing, the drumming of hooves on turf, the noise, the speed, the weight, the intensity of those magnificent beasts, the expense, the cost, the financial backing. They speak of a whole world of power and of finance and influence. And of course, horses have long since had that element to them. We think of seeing an army marching out to war prior to the mechanized warfare of tanks and other forms of modern engagement. And still in the City of London, we see the household cavalry either on some ceremonial enterprise or simply out exercising. And the extraordinary sound in these days of lockdown of hooves echoing around the empty streets of London reminds us of these beasts, which are a statement of power and of influence. And so there is in our minds, I guess, an even greater contrast when we think of how powerful horses are. There's an even greater contrast with the vision of Jesus of Nazareth, who rides into Jerusalem not on a horse, but on a donkey. And where do donkeys fit in our imagination? Where do they come in the sort of range of experience that we're familiar with? They come from the seaside. They come from those holiday trips of donkey rides for little children. They come from being down there on the beach, from sandcastles and all the signs of enjoyment that are part of a summer refreshment, life together, and memories of a happy childhood. This animal, the donkey, is a beast of burden, a beast that carries a particular sort of weight, a weight of expectation. We want to be happy. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want a summer holiday to remember. The beasts also who carry other burdens, burdens for poor and hard-working communities in remote corners of the earth, remote from us, and yet where the benefits of modern mechanization do not exist alongside the task of earning a hard living from the land. And within the Gospels, It is the image of the Holy Family, familiar to us from the Christmas story of travelling slowly and painfully, a heavily pregnant woman on a donkey, of fleeing from the dangers of Jerusalem and Bethlehem to Egypt as they are sent into exile, and the life of their child, Jesus Christ, is threatened by a jealous king. Jesus comes riding into Jerusalem not on a horse, the sign of power, the sign of finance, the sign of sophistication. No, he comes on a donkey, the beast of burden, the beast of our summer holidays and childhood. And on this day, he is saying to us, "Come to me, all you who are overburdened, and I will give you rest." His patient and slow journey to Calvary through this week will be a sign to us that he carries our burdens in simplicity of heart, for he has become one like us, homeless and exiled from the glory of heaven, exposed not simply to temptation and human frailty, but also to hatred, to political intriguing, to the cross currents of warfare, of imperial exploitation. Yes, he comes as one who is exposed to the very worst that we can offer. And he comes most of all exposed to our death. "Come to me, all you who are heavy laden, overburdened with the fear and the experience of death and grief and pain." And he says, "I will give you rest." As we come wearily to the close of our disciplines in Lent, as we come also wearied by the pandemic and the lockdown, let us turn with confidence and with hope to Jesus Christ, who comes as one like us. He did not cling to his equality with God, Paul reminds us, but emptied himself to assume the condition of a slave and become as we are, and was humbler yet, even to accepting death on a cross. In his death, he carries our burdens. He bears our mortality and finitude. And by the might and glory and power of love, he vanquishes these limits in us and opens to us the eternity and glory and freedom and bliss and joy and fullness of life in heaven. For this cause, we wave before him our palms and willow branches. We greet him as the Messiah, the source of our life and hope.